Just don't kill me, whatever you do. Wow, this boss is fucked. Luckily, there is salvation at the end of the tunnel for those of you that have died as many times on this fight as I have. Now, the biggest problem with this fight is that there doesn't seem to be any YouTube videos out there or any Reddit posts that I can find that offer any meaningful strategy to beating this boss. But through trial and error, me and my Twitch chat figured out a way to fight this boss without using any medicines. And I know that because I used all of my medicines right before we figured this out and we were able to beat the fight. So if you're ready for it, here's how to beat this boss. Now, for the most part in this fight, True Blood Eve is going to cycle between two separate phases. One where she hits you with her hands on fire, we'll call this the fire hands phase, and one where she floats around and has children heal her. Let's call this the healing phase. Whenever she finishes a phase, she teleports away and begins the other one, so you'll know when the next one starts. And there's very minimal changes to her attack pattern throughout the battle. She'll just cycle between these two things over and over and over. One thing that does seem to change later in the fight that you're going to want to take advantage of is after you do a bit of damage to True Blood Eve, she's going to start doing this energy body check thing to you in the middle of her healing phase. This is your opportunity to kick the shit out of her. Whenever she hits you with this attack, she will take you down to exactly 1 HP, or at least that's what was happening to me every time. So make sure you are standing in the middle of the arena, because she'll go from one side of the screen to the other, and if you're standing in the spot where she stops on the edge of the screen, she'll do the hit to take you down to 1 damage, and then she'll be touching you, so she'll do more damage that will kill you. You don't want that. Stand in the middle of the arena, so she goes right past you, takes you down to 1 HP, and then just keep in mind that she walks towards you after this, and she could walk into you and take that 1 HP as well, so just make sure you don't just stand there afterwards and take that hit. One thing that we learned in this fight that took me way too long to figure out is that when Eve is in the healing phase, if you do any damage to her at all when the children are watching, they will heal her. And I had a few instances of her getting healed even when they weren't on screen, so I became very afraid to do any damage to her in this phase. But the time where it is definitely safe to attack her is after she does this energy body check thing and goes to recover. While she's recovering, you're gonna wanna unload on her and do as much damage as possible before the children show back up to heal her. One thing to remember is that you're gonna wanna use the move pre-raise before this phase ends. So what I was doing is I believe I had 6 shots for this fight. So I would do 5 shots to her, and then I would use pre-raise, because in the fire phase, I was basically unable to dodge her attacks ever, and I kept dying. I just kept dying, and I wasn't able to do any real damage to her. So she's gonna kill you in the fire phase. And eventually she'll get to the point where she's gonna hit you 3 times every single time, and it is very hard for you to avoid. But if you have pre-raise turned on, at least with my weapon, I had enough time to squeeze off 3 shots during the Fire Fist phase before she killed me. So I would die, and then she would carry out her attacks while my pre-raise was going off, and she wouldn't be able to do any more damage. Then we'd go back into the healing phase. Now, during the healing phase, I didn't dare attack True Blood Eve until I saw her use that energy charge attack and go into her recovery pose. So until she does that, I use this time to prepare. One glitch that you can take advantage of is switching your armor during this part of the phase. Switch your armor because it resets the amount of time it takes your P powers to grow. And it goes back to being as fast as it was at the beginning of the fight. So switch your armor. And then for me, I only had 1 good set of armor, so I would switch back to my good armor after that. And then I would wait for her to do her energy body check thing again. squeeze off all of my shots except for the last move, turn pre-raise back on. She would switch back to the fire phase, hit me, kill me after I'm able to get off 3 shots of damage. And then we just went in this cycle and she wasn't able to heal at all. It takes a while to whittle off some damage, but it does work. And this is what I was able to use to beat this boss after, I think, 5 attempts and 5 hours of doing this fight over and over again. It really does work, I promise. The thing I don't have a particularly great strategy for is the beginning of the fight. In the beginning, she won't be using the energy charge. At least she wasn't on me. So I was just doing as much damage as I could in the fire phase. The beginning of the fight is the only time when I was using Liberate because I wanted to save my energy to get pre-raise off before the healing phase would end and before she started her fire fists. So do as much damage as you can to Eve until she starts doing that body check move. And the number one thing to remember is do not attack her unless it is safe to do so in that healing phase. Wait for the energy charge to go off, and if you absolutely feel the need to attack her, make sure those children are nowhere near the arena. And I hope this helps you because, man, this fight is hard. If this does help you, please give me a like, a subscribe, anything helps. I upload all my VODs over here, and if you want to watch us play more video games, we're going to be starting Parasite Eve 2. Follow Ryan the Skeleton on Twitch.